Hello again. So far, and up till this point, we have already seen three topics or aspects on how to use the imperfeito. We have started to have a long video where I explain how the imperfeito is used or mainly what is the feeling. We have in that video seen a very first topic that I say that the imperfeito is usually used to describe the past. So for vivid descriptions of past actions that are still a reality in that story. I have probably even mentioned that I usually say the imperfeito is the present of the past. So that is a sentence I know I keep repeating throughout this course. Then, we have also seen that to tell time in the past, you also have to use the imperfeito. And in the previous slide, we have seen how age is also told using the imperfeito in the past, and on that previous and third slide we have seen as well how the imperfeito is used in storytelling. Now, throughout all those explanations and also in the previous one, I've already let it go and said that from everything that you've known so far about the imperfeito, and as well the imperfeito being this present of the past, you may already felt that the imperfeito is also going to be the main past tense that we are going to be used whenever we want to express, as it says here on this slide, habitual actions and again the repetition on ongoing states. So you know that for the present tense, we also use the present tense anytime we want to describe a routine, events, actions that are in a way not finished in our life. So whether it is the present or the past, you will see that the imperfeito is also used to describe these habitual actions and ongoing states. So let's see now the first slide a little bit more in detail. Over here, so the first topic, and as you know so far, we are going to use imperfeito whenever we want to refer to habitual actions in the past. So that's another topic, how to use the imperfeito. This is the one. The imperfeito is used to describe actions that happened regularly or habitually in the past. Let's see this example here. Todas as manhãs ele tomava café e lia o jornal. And below again you have the translation. Every morning he had coffee and read the newspaper. So, in this sentence, we see two activities that occurred as part of a daily routine. Either tomava, drank, and lia, read or used to read, describe what this person did habitually each morning. And you start to see how logical everything is. The imperfeito, again, does not focus on the exact moment of the action or the completion of the action, but rather it conveys that these actions were repeated over time as a routine. So, in a way, everything I have mentioned so far about the imperfeito being this tense that refers to descriptions of the past and ongoing states, this is more of the same. Now, I also want you to notice how certain expressions are naturally used to describe ongoing actions or routines. In this example, this is clear with those words. Todas as manhãs. Literally is all the mornings. Not so literally, every morning. Of course, you are going to keep finding certain keywords that describe daily routines. And therefore, if you want to describe a daily routine in the past, you will see that most likely you are going to see the imperfeito being used in the next verbs that you may find. Having said that, you can clearly feel that there is a big similarity with the present simple of indicative and this imperfeito tense. For instance, consider that example written carefully. It's written now in the present. And we have a classic example on how also the present of the indicativo tense is used in Portuguese. Again, we have exactly the same key expression with todas as manhãs. Todas as manhãs, so every morning. And in this case, this is just a present tense and time because we have toma and lê. So, todas as manhãs, ele toma café e lê o jornal. Every morning, he drinks coffee and reads the newspaper. So, as you know, the present simples do indicativo or present simple of indicativo also conveys actions that occur regularly or habitually, but in this case in the present. Notice how again toma and lê expressed this current daily routine in the same way that the verbs written in the imperfeito in the previous slide, tomava and lia, expressed the same thing for the past. So, sometimes if you are wondering about whether you have to use the imperfeito or the PPS for daily routines, remember again the parallel I always make here between the present and the imperfeito. And remember that just like the present, the imperfeito does the same thing for daily routines in the past. Let's see here more examples that match that idea I keep saying. The imperfeito was the present of the past. Routine actions. Look how we have one thing written in the present and the same very thing, the very same sentence written in the imperfeito. Now, I usually, it's not any grammar book, it's me who often says that the imperfeito is the present of the past because it operates in the same way as the present simple, but now in a past context. Let's have a look on the first sentence written in the present. Todos os dias ela acorda às 7 da manhã, sai de casa e chega ao trabalho às 9 da manhã. So, every day she wakes up at 7 a.m., leaves the house, and arrives at work at 9 a.m. Now let's see exactly the same feeling, but let's pretend that 10 years have passed since that action. And you want to describe her routine during that reality. So you will see that we have exactly the same sentence, but all those verbs are written now in the imperfeito. We have the same expressions. It's just the tenses that change. So now we have todos os dias ela acordava às 7 da manhã, saía de casa e chegava ao trabalho às 9 da manhã. So every day she woke up. You can also translate with every day she used to wake up. I am not just translating like that because we may create a problem with something else I'll be discussing later, which is the use of the verb costumar. So that's for later, but yes, the feeling is she used to wake up. Or if you have a trouble with that translation, we can go with that one written here. Every day she woke up at 7 a.m., left the house, and arrived at work at 9 a.m. Now, whether it is written in the present or in the imperfeito, both tenses express habits or routines, but one in the present and another one in the past. And there's another feeling here of non-completed actions. Just like the present simple, the imperfeito does not emphasize whether an action was completed, but rather that it happened regularly or as a pattern. Now, notice how all the verbs that are used in the present tense, as I said before, are used in the same way in the imperfeito. Okay? Again, obviously the conjugation is different because they are different verb tenses, but the routine context is the same, and the main thing you need to focus here. Likewise, notice how certain keywords, they often provide crucial context for understanding the tense that is being used. And whether it is todos os dias, or todas as manhãs, or todos os meses, or todas as semanas, all of those expressions help indicating habitual or repeated actions. And even though these phrases may not be used constantly, for someone learning Portuguese as a beginner or at this level, these phrases act as cues, guiding you towards the use of the imperfeito to describe past routines. So remember that if you have words that tells you the frequency of an action in the past, most likely is you will have to use the imperfeito right after. There is another feeling and something else that I usually see my students mistaking all the time. Sometimes in some books it shows up that the imperfeito is used for non-completed actions in the past. Please, in the past, I'll explain better. So, even I as a teacher, when I first saw that sentence, I felt a little bit puzzled or intrigued because I had a student asking me if the imperfeito was something used to describe an action that started in the past and is still not completed in the present. Please, that is completely wrong. So, whether it is the imperfeito or the PPS, those actions in comparison to the present, those actions are finished. So remember that in comparison to the present, but we are not discussing the present. Do this exercise. Go back in time. It would be funny if we could do that, wouldn't it? But let's pretend. Go back in time. Try to open again that window to the past. See what is happening now. Imagine that a child is 10 years old. You remember that we are going to use the imperfeito to describe age. And we may say that esta criança, okay, tinha 5 anos. So this child had literally, but was 5 years old. So she still is 5 years old in this story. So she has not yet stopped being 5 years old. And this is what we mean by non completed actions in the past. So, in the past, those actions keep occurring, they are ongoing. Whether the PPS, it's an action in the past that started and was finished. Remember the very first videos on this course that you've seen, and remember the example of a door being open and the door being closed in the past. It helps quite a lot, I hope. So remember, when we say in the imperfeito, or when we discuss non-completed actions, this means, in other words, ongoing actions in the past, actions that are not clear, that are finished. They keep on going in the story, unlike the PPS. So we can tie everything up, that idea, with the idea of routine. Look at this example. Eu estudava todos os dias. So I study, or I used to study every day. There's not only the feeling of a routine, but you also get the feeling that this routine has not finished in the story. Now I'm no longer a student, let's pretend, and I don't say anymore that I'm still doing that. No, but I used to do that for a long, long time. So, as I have written over there, this sentence does not tell us whether or when the study ended or was completed. It just simply describes a repeated action, therefore, a routine that happened over a period of time. Okay? So, I do hope you remember this, and please don't think that non completed actions are about the present. No, we are discussing non completed actions in the past. So, the imperfeito focuses on the fact that it was a regular occurrence, not whether it reached a definite conclusion, a definite ending. Okay? So, having said all of that, the imperfeito definitely deeply contrasts with the PPS. Let's consider this sentence written in the PPS. Eu estudei ontem. I studied yesterday. I've come up with that picture, so I do hope it helped you understanding. You see, let's pretend it's me. You see me with all the books closed and leaving the room. So, what does that tell you? It tells you that that action in that picture, in that past, it is over. So, as I also wrote here it's clear that the action was completed within a specific time frame, ontem, yesterday. So, the PPS, or simple past, often marks the beginning and the end of an action. Unlike the imperfeito tense, or unlike the previous slide where you saw not just a routine, but the feeling of this routine that has not finished in the past. So this routine keeps being a routine. Okay? So to summarize, when we say, or when I say, that the imperfeito does not emphasize whether an action was completed, I mean that this tense focuses on the ongoing nature or repetition of the action in the past, rather than whether it had a clear start and finishing. Okay? Again, remember the previous slide. Now, the PPS, as you can see, it's very different from that because it marks a start and a finished point in the story. Okay, so remember that. Again, check out the image used in the slide to illustrate. Again, we can see a girl who has finished her studying, her books are closed, and she is leaving. The action is completed, the action is done. Okay, so this is quite different from the imperfeito.